Us on Geek Blood, the show you can't ignore. Ray and Kevin diving deep into all things galore. Comic book, movie, sci-fi, and action thrill. Reviewing new TV shows, we keep it real. Reminiscing the attitude era, wrestling at its peak. Nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, memories we seek. Pineapples for our rings, a unique touch. Geek culture in our blood, we love it so much. Geek Blood, we love it so much. Geek Blood, where we talk about it all, from superheroes to wrestlers. We stand tall, Ray and Kevin, the dynamic duo in sight. Geek Blood, shining bright, shining bright. Did you hear about Pluto? Let's messed up right. Geek Blood, taking you on a nostalgia flight. From movies to TV, we cover it all. Join us every week, we'll have a ball. Shuffle.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much. What's up with you?
Doing good. Gonna start the show off with a couple of topics. First one, talk about it all the time. Character actors from the 80s, 90s. Usually we bring up. You don't know the name of the guy. We usually talk about him in obituaries. That's the reason why it came up this week. We're going to talk about it a little in the news, but got me thinking. I was listening to another podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but who is our best modern day character actor? Not a leading man. Somebody you may not know by name. You may have to Google who this character is. Also, somebody that's known for the character. Like, for example, Urkel. He's Urkel, even though he's Jaleel White. A lot of people don't know his real name, and they have to Google. And that's basically what a character actor is. But who is our modern day, right now, character actor? Maybe in the last 20 years, 2000s. The first one I heard on this podcast, they brought up Matthew Lillard, who, of course, is now in Marvel, who is going to be in DC in Superman next year. And you brought up off pod Sebastian Stan. He's one of those supporting guys that's in everything, except I think the Batman, which we'll talk about at the end, is going to make him the big star. I mean, he's already been the Winter Soldier, of course, but
he's in the top. Isn't he in the top like 5 highest ranked Marvel movies too? Like the 5 he's been there, like the top or
Winter
like above
Soldier.
90%. Yeah,
Winter Soldier is considered number 1 for a lot of people, and he's the Winter Soldier. So, and the other one, this is the big one. This one may be number 1 right now. Paul Dano, who is in everything, and in every character that he plays in every movie is unique in that movie. You go back, we talk about it all the time, but Girl Next Door, way back, one of his first movies. It was a comedy, totally different in that movie compared to the Milkshake movie with the greatest actor of our generation there. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but totally different range that guy has. That's all we really came up with right now. Maybe we'll come up with more, but the character actors back in the day is one of those guys. Oh yeah, that guy right there. We see him everywhere. He's in every movie. One passed this week that we're going to give some time to later with a movie that we watched, and we're going to give his obituary. But the other thing we wanted to bring up, and Kevin brought it to my attention, was 2026 has a lot of video games. Compared to most years, we have a lot of great releases happening. And we got some on the picture there. Some rumored. We'll talk about that. The next one coming up next week, which you're going to review on the podcast, is Lego Dark Knight Legacy, which I'm very excited for. And then the week after, 007, which I'm also equally excited for. Those are just to name a couple. And then at the end of the year, we got GTA 6, which has been... Everybody's been waiting for that game for how long?
Thanksgiving
and it's
break.
Probably going to take... It's going to take over everybody's lives from that point forward for a couple of years. So, what was the other one? Wolverine was the big one for me.
Well, starting with May, the 19th is Forza 6 for Xbox people, this racing game. The 21st was Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which comes out the day before Lego Batman. And that looks pretty fun. I love the Yoshi games. Of course, Lego Batman 22nd. Bond the 27th. On June, we're getting like the 4th time they've remade the fucking Star Fox game. And Nintendo's probably going to charge $70 for it, but it looks really good, even though it's like a 6.5 hour long game. It's not very long.
That's the other thing about Nintendo. They're not releasing game announcements right. Like this game will be out 6 months from now. They're doing it within like a month or two when a game comes out.
And they also
a lot of re-releases. They never go on sale ever. Yeah. They consider a sale buy one get one for like 10% off. It's nothing really.
In July we got Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is a remaster. Looks really cool though. A new Splatoon game is coming out that month also. And August is Marvel Token Fighting Souls. I don't really know.
It's another fighting game.
It's a fighting game.
Yeah, another Marvel.
Yeah. And of course, October 15th is Wolverine, and September 15th is Wolverine, and September 6th is Star Wars Racer, which I'm really looking forward to.
Can't wait for that. Yeah.
I've been looking for a new pod racer ever since the fucking first one came out in 1999, 2000. But yeah,
with brand new graphics too, it's gonna look amazing.
Couple of great games coming up, so that's cool. I obviously have the Lego game and the Bond game pre-ordered. I assume I'll be getting Wolverine when that comes out, and of course GTA.
Me too. The other game that you didn't mention, the Halloween game. That comes out in October. It sounds on paper, it sounds like it's going to be awesome, but I know a lot of games like that don't end up catching up to what they actually look like they're going to be. The other thing is rumored for the end of the year. Well, the other thing, we don't have an Xbox, but they are releasing this on the PS5. They're releasing a remastered Halo Combat Evolved. So they're remastering it to a new modern day effects and everything. That's coming out on the PS5 for the very first time, PlayStation, sometime this year. And the other thing, the rumor, at the end of the year, since it's the 40th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, there's going to be a remaster of Legend of Zelda somewhere, and people are speculating Ocarina of Time or something to that effect, or even the one on the SNES. I can't remember off the top of my head, but something Zelda related will be out this year.
Link to the Past,
probably for the Switch. Link to the Past. Something on the Switch 2 will come out probably this year. Again, Nintendo doesn't announce those until they're really ready to release them, so they may not announce this until October, if it comes out in December or whenever. But yeah, just a few. We talk about these all the time, but this is kind of a glimpse of what we have had to look forward to. And the next one we're going to be talking about next week and the week after is Lego Dark Knight and 007 First Light. And we should get some first reactions this week for the Lego game and the First Light game. The First Light game looks like they finally given Bond time. They haven't done that since the 90s with GoldenEye. So I've had a lot of cool extras and everything coming with it.
I've had Thursday and Friday off the last two, or this week and next week. So I'm hoping that I also get those days off because it comes out like midnight on Thursday. So I'll be able to play it for like a day and a half before we record on Friday. Which would be awesome. I'll break out the smoker and I'll smoke some pork butt and play some Bond.
Awesome. Yep. So let's continue talking about those throughout the year. Let's talk about what we watched this week. We have a penultimate episode this week of The Boys, episode 7. The beginning of the episode, we kind of see the Gen V payoff, but I think the payoff was weak. Cameos Marie Moreau and the other girl guy that follows her around. I thought it was weak having 2 seasons setting up those 2 characters. I figured unless they have a bigger role in the finale. Everything I'm hearing, this is it. This is a one and done in that episode, but we'll wait to see it till next week. But Kimiko is trying to get an upgrade to go against Homelander at the end of this series. And she's going in this room with uranium, like Soldier Boy, and trying to get Soldier Boy's power. She's going into the room to absorb the uranium, to try to absorb it and get that power to maybe go after Homelander at the end and kill him. During this whole thing, Homelander, now a super god immortal, disbands the Seven, firing in the deep. Last episode in the deep fucked up. Everybody in the ocean hates him. All animals. Samuel L. Jackson did a cameo as a hammerhead shark in this episode. It told him to watch himself if he ever goes in the ocean. Somebody was drowning, and he would not go in the ocean because of it. So I have a feeling the ocean is what's going to end up killing him. I think if he ever sets foot in it, it's probably going to kill him. I'm not sure if we'll see that next episode or not, but he has a bounty from every ocean creature in the ocean. So Homelander, a god, a dictator, kills the president in the White House, takes over the country, and he is mentally unstable. He's been mentally unstable for a very long time. Has there's a lot. There are definitely a lot of connections to this season and what's been happening in politics.
Eric Kripke did say that he goes, this season was written like a year and a half ago. So it's literally just a coincidence. Everything that's been going on with this country and with the show, which is fucking insane.
Every article he sees, every news article is like, what the fuck? It's like a spoiler for my television show. But the very end of this episode, we have the first character of the actual boys members that gets killed, and that is Frenchie. R.I.P. Frenchie, spoiler. And he dies in Kimiko's arms. And Kimiko, of course, she is immortal. She's a superhero. And she's always been worried. She's always been trying to figure out a way to make herself mortal again so she can live a life with Frenchie. She doesn't want to see him grow old. Well, now she can't because he died. He died actually protecting her. Homelander, he was in the room with uranium. He got uranium exposure. Homelander was getting it at the same time, but it ended up killing him. Homelander grabbed him and dragged him and ripped him to shreds. And then he kind of died in her arms, and that's where the episode left off. Next week's the finale. We got a brand new poster came out today for the finale of Butcher meeting up with Homelander on the White House lawn. Looks reminiscent of what the UFC is going to look like next month. It is so funny that this series is, like you mentioned, so connected to what's going on right now. But we will talk about the finale next week. The other thing we'll talk about is Euphoria, episode 5. Have you watched anything since the first episode? Have you been watching any of the show at all?
I tried the second episode. It's just, I don't know. I can't get into it.
It's hard to get into, but what the fuck have they done to Nate? Nate was a great character in the first 2 seasons, and he's like a pussy boy now. I don't know what the route is for his character arc, but I'm not liking it. The only thing I'm liking in this series, this season, is Rue, and she gets caught by the strip club owner, who I can't remember. We'll have to talk about it another time. But she gets caught by him, gets dug into the sand, and he comes by with a croquet hammer thing, on a horseback. And as her head is sticking out of the sand, and the episode just ends as he's about to hit her in the head with it, going about probably 30, 40, 50 miles an hour on the horse. And Cassie, the big thing about this season, Sydney Sweeney is naked in every single episode. It's sexualized in every single episode, and there's so much controversy surrounding it that it's what makes the news about this season. It's the only thing. And her being an OnlyFans model this season is taking a lot of people that are on OnlyFans are taking arms to that, saying that's not how we really do it. That's not how this works. They're just kind of fantasizing it. But overall, I miss the old Euphoria. I'll keep saying it till the series ends. I think we got like 3 episodes left. I don't know how many episodes are in this season, 8 or 10, but I'll continue watching it. I'll continue talking about it. Finally, what I've been waiting all week to talk about. There is a show early last week. I started hearing about it. We always talk about Apple TV has these sleeper hits that nobody knows about. Well, this is a sleeper hit that everybody needs to know about. Widow's Bay. It is a love story to everything horror, New York, New England. Stephen King written all over this original story. Don't know anybody really besides Stephen Root, who is Milton from Office Space. Other than that, don't know any of the actors. Don't know anything about it. There are 4 episodes in. I've watched all of it, and it's fucking fantastic. Best show on the air right now, currently. Right up there with It. Welcome to Derry. Every episode is a mystery in itself, and a love story to horror of the past of Stephen King. Ghost stories, this and that. It's set on an island somewhere in New England. I don't really think they ever say what state they're off of, but they're in New England. They talk about Portsmouth. They talk about Boston a lot, being close by, but they're on this island that they're trying to make a tourist destination. But all these ghostly things have happened on this island. And they get the reporter in there and witnesses some of this shit going on. Here's the stories of it. Writes an article saying this is a nice, quaint town. And then the tourists start showing up in like the 2nd or 3rd episode, and shenanigans happen throughout the whole entire series. It's fucking phenomenal. 4 episodes. I'm not sure. It's probably eight episodes this season. It's on Apple TV. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything away because it's one of those things. It's a week to week. Every week there's a different story, different horror element. Like the 3rd episode had to do with like a siren, but a unique, weird siren, like a mermaid kind of thing, like an ocean woman. I'm not going to give any spoilers other than that. But there's different things. Like it's definitely, like I mentioned, Stephen King centric, ocean horror centric. It's very, very good. Apple TV, watch it. That's all I can say, and I'll continue talking about it if I see something that I want to talk about. The other thing I watched last week, I don't know if you had a chance to see it or watched any highlights. The roast of Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I've seen the highlights.
Hosted by Shane Gillis. I was not a fan of this roast compared to the Tom Brady roast. I didn't think it was. I thought about maybe the first 10 minutes was funny and I was laughing, and throughout I laughed at a few moments. But Kevin Hart is just not funny, naturally funny. He's probably he's great talking to The Rock. He's great interacting with people sometimes. But the jokes that he tells, the roast jokes, they're just not that funny to me. And the comedians that he asked to be on the dais were not that funny compared to Tom Brady. I don't know if they were just kind of holding back a little bit, even though some of the jokes were hitting hard. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I think
Tom Brady was pretty funny in it, but I don't know. It was it was just okay. Yeah,
Jay Okerson was one of my favorites. Even who I loved Tony Hinchcliffe last year. Did not like his roast this year. Chelsea Handler, absolute worst. I did not like her. I thought that she was just uppity the whole entire time. Kevin Hart, The Rock came out, had a great rapport, I guess, with Kevin Hart. But you've already seen that so many times.
Right.
Overall, not my favorite roast. This is a Netflix. It seemed like they watered it down a little bit too compared to Tom Brady. Maybe, I don't know. I know Ted Sarandos, who runs Netflix, was there. Has said that he's a fan of comedy and fan of keeping the envelope open. But I don't know. Who do you want to see? Who's a big name other than Kevin Hart? Kevin Hart was the worst part of the Tom Brady roast too. It's kind of weird that they chose him for this. He's a big name, I understand, but who else would you want to see? Who's a big name you'd want to see get roasted on something like this?
I don't know. I
don't know. Sports or political? I don't know. Who would you? Donald Trump would be the
Aaron Rodgers.
Obvious.
Aaron
Rodgers. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I don't know. I don't know anybody who would have a tough skin like that to actually do a roast.
I think
not a huge fan of this one though.
My favorite joke at any roast was Pete Davidson. I forget who said it, but the guy said so. He was talking about how Pete Davidson's father was a hero and blah blah blah, and how he died on September 11th. And then he goes, "But this is the roast of Pete Davidson's father that happened in 2001."
Yes.
and Pete Davidson laughed at it. I saw somebody else bring it up this week, but yeah,
all the Pete Davidson jokes were great because everybody knows that story and they all hit, and it was all the same joke though.
Right.
Overall, I miss the old days of the roast. Fuck. Even Greg Giraldo back in the day was great. Patrice O'Neill, all these guys are gone now. All even Artie Lang was great on the roast, but they're just for some reason all these guys. Artie's not there, not around doing comedy anymore. But
right,
they need some hard hitters back on the stage, and not just these B-listers or people that aren't really known for roast to be on the dais. They need somebody that actually, like what's her name, Nikki Glazer wasn't there this year. She was the highlight last year. She's one of the best roasters out right now.
Yep.
I don't know what she was doing, but she should have been there. And at least they should have worked around her schedule because she's the best right now. But watched a couple of documentaries I want to talk about. First one I wasn't too high on, and I was very, very excited to see it, and that's the Lorne documentary. Did not talk a lot about his life. Was kind of him around. Talked a little bit about the SNL, which has been hammered numerous times this year in documentaries, but did not really talk about his life, which was disappointing. Overall, probably a 3.5 out of 5 for me. I was a little disappointed in it. This is not on digital yet. Will be probably soon, I'm guessing, on Peacock. But a documentary that I absolutely loved, though. This is on Netflix if you want to watch it. It's called Marty. Life is Short. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but it is fucking fantastic. About Martin Short. Talks about his life thoroughly. Reminded me a lot of the John Candy documentary earlier in the year. There's a lot of great documentaries on SCTV, guys. Started in Toronto, like John Candy in Second City. Has a lifelong friendship with Eugene Levy. They're best friends, as a matter of fact. His wife, Nancy, was the understudy for Gilda Radner in Toronto during some play up there. I can't remember what it was, Godspell or something. And that's where he met his wife. Tragedy of her life. Nancy died almost 20 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, of cancer. And he kind of hasn't been the same since. He's kind of been low key. More recent years, he's been in a lot more things, of course. Only Murders, but Catherine O'Hara. This is her last interview. She was interviewed for it before she passed. Like I mentioned, got his start on SCTV. That's where America first saw him, with John Candy, Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, Andrea Martin, Joe Flattery. Harold Ramis directed the episodes. And then after that, he was only on for like a year or two. He dropped off of SCTV and went right to SNL for a year. In 1985, when they rebooted the SNL cast. Three Amigos with him, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin. Great movie. Another movie we're going to talk about in a minute called Inner Space. Great sci-fi movie from the 80s with him and Dennis Quaid. Father of the Brides. He was in both of those with Steve Martin. Has a friendship with Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg to this day. They have summer outings at his cabin up in Canada. He created a character that he could interview people with a prosthetic mask called Jiminy Glick. If nobody's seen those videos, they're viral. You can go on YouTube and watch them. It's pretty funny, where he kind of gives his own little roast to them, to their face. Pretty funny. Like I mentioned, his loss of Nancy kind of turned his life around. And just recently, his daughter ended up committing suicide too. And she was remembered at the end in the credits. And of course, Only Murders kind of was resurgence of not only his career, but Steve Martin's career. And that's what a lot of the new modern day audience is going to know him from, is that the home movies in this, a lot of home movies made this documentary, made it great. Was directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who's written Star Wars movies. He wrote Empire and Return of the Jedi. He's written a lot of stuff. He's been lifelong friends with him as well, and he directed this. Overall, great documentary. 4.5 out of 5. One of the best ones I've seen this year. Seen a lot of great documentaries. This is up in the top 3 for me this year. And because I watched this, there's a sci-fi movie I mentioned, Inner Space, came out in 1987. And it is inspired by Isaac Asimov's Fantastic Voyage, where they shrink this team almost like a NASA mission to go in the bloodstream of a human being. It's kind of based off that, inspired by that. The writer even admits that. Stars Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, Meg Ryan. Steven Spielberg produced it, directed by Joe Dante, who did Gremlins. Sam Cooke is throughout the soundtrack, which is awesome. One of the best sci-fi movies that I've never seen, that I ended up watching for the very first time. A very, very good movie. Came out in the 80s. It's one of those movies, if I watched it in the 80s, I probably would absolutely still love it now. One of those movies that would have hit me back then for sure. Definitely great movie, worth watching now. A lot of, I think it won best special effects in the Oscars that year. So and nobody knows about it. I didn't hear about it till recently. I think in the last couple of years I started hearing about it. Martin Short does a great job, and Dennis Quaid does a great job. Definitely good, definitely worth watching. I wanted to bring that up. A couple of other things I want to talk about before we get into news. We had a Marvel special presentation. Punisher One Last Kill.
Should have been longer.
That was my one complaint too. Way too short.
It should have started with him taking out the family and not showing the mother at all. Then they kind of reveal that, like, but whatever. Go on. Continue.
Yeah, way too short. And there were little glimpses in this. Like, a lot of people compare it to The Raid, which I've never seen. But I was thinking Dread. That movie's great. John Wick, of course, because of what happens to the dog. They kill a dog in the beginning of this episode TV show. It's like an extended episode of a television show. That's what it feels like. And it's reminiscent of that and revenge and everything like that. But him trying to escape his apartment should have been the central part of this episode and not just last whatever happened 15-20 minutes. It should have been a whole hour of just that. Him trying to escape. We saw glimpses of it, which everything was great. Every glimpse that we saw of it was great, but that should have been the focus. And at the very end, he had like maybe a boss on every level till he got to the very end, and he could have maybe gone after the bad guy who ends up escaping at the end, which was a weird idea unless they're planning on continuing that another season with played by Judith Light, who was in Who's the Boss. She was Tony Danza's love interest, the woman that he ends up working in the home for. Mother by Danzig. Seth Simoon opens this. If you know Danzig, if you know that song came out in the 90s, great tone for this setting up. Bubbles from The Wire. We just recently talked about him. What he was cast in something. I don't remember what it was, but
Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, it was something big. I knew that. Bubbles from The Wire, saw him in this, so he's in Marvel and DC as well. And the big issue I have with this is the dog. Why do you have to kill a dog? That's the one gripe I had with John Wick too.
And it didn't lead, like, at least John Wick, that's the basis of the story. The dog didn't mean anything to the story outside of the guy going,
right.
That's not all he took from me, but like he didn't even tell him about the dog, so it didn't really fucking matter.
Yeah, there's no emotional, emotional hold to the dog.
I mean,
little disappointed just because this should have been a 2-hour movie, and it could have been a lot more like Dread, where he had to try to escape his apartment, going level to level. And like I said, if there was a boss, a bigger bad guy at every level that he had to go after, and towards the end he's covered in blood, he has to go after a really big bad guy, maybe Judith Light or the guy who's protecting her. I would have loved something like that, but I don't know. This is all to set up Spider-Man Brand New Day, I guess, to make him a better person with a nice brighter suit and a shave. I have no idea what the reason for this was, other than that. But overall, like 3.5 out of 5. I was hoping for more, and unfortunately, we didn't get that. Let's talk about this first. You saw Obsession. I've heard a lot about that.
I did.
What is it about? Number one, without giving too many spoilers away. I know it's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, but it's not really scary. It's more unsettling.
Okay.
It's about this guy who wants to get out of the friend zone with a girl he's known since high school, and he buys a trinket at a store to give to her as a friend gift, and he ends up just using it himself, and you like break it in half, make a wish.
Oh.
And that wish is supposed to come true or not, blah, blah, blah. And she becomes completely obsessed with him. It is disgusting in points. It is very unsettling, unnerving. It kind of reminds me of like, I guess kind of like Smile, but not really. I don't know.
Okay.
But the girl in it that he's in love with was the girlfriend to, I think, Jonathan, whichever one of the Kents in Superman and Lois had a girlfriend for all 4 seasons.
Okay. Yep, that's right.
It's that girl.
Yep.
So I think it's my favorite movie on the year. I loved it. It's like an hour and a half. You're not going to feel the same way because the way I view horror and stuff like that, you know. But I gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd. Really enjoyed it. Really unsettling. Not too like horror-y. It's very. I liked it a lot. Very well written. Pretty well acted throughout by everyone. Yeah, I liked it a lot. And the guy who directed his last name Barker. I don't think he has any relation to Clive Barker though. Okay. But yeah, very good movie. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out.
It's good. It's very good. I assume it'll be on digital because this type of movie goes digital pretty fast.
Yeah.
Depending on the box office. But I mean, its budget was probably I didn't look into it. 20 million is my guess. But yeah, cool, excellent. I will be watching it again when it comes out.
The other movie we talked about, we saw the preview when we went to the movies last week, a couple weeks ago. Passengers. I've been seeing a lot about that coming up lately too. I cannot wait to see that and hear about it. But it's funny that we talk about something and then something comes up that is just totally unrelated, but it's connected in a way. And there's a movie that you've wanted me to watch for a very long time. We're watching it for a particular reason this week. Number one, Jean-Claude Van Damme. We haven't watched anything on this podcast. You were a huge fan growing up. And I think this is a great start for a movie to watch from him. And we watched Bloodsport. Came out in 1988. Based on a true story. Found out at the end of it. It's in the poster too. Starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and a actor that we'll talk about in news, R.I.P. But overall, the basis of this movie is a karate tournament in Japan. We've been talking a lot about Mortal Kombat lately, and of course there is history to this movie compared to what Mortal Kombat ended up becoming. And you know a little bit more. Gave me a little history of it yesterday when I texted you. But Jean-Claude Van Damme is obviously the basis of Johnny Cage.
Yep.
In this movie, and the tournament of it and everything.
This alleged true story, which of course has been proven completely false.
Oh, really?
And Frank Dukes, the guy that he says trained him, never existed according to any records.
How does that happen?
The Kumite never existed.
How does that happen?
Pre-internet, I guess.
Wow.
But yeah, he's been like dragged through the mud because of it. But apparently he does know karate, but he was a former soldier. But the dates were completely different than what he said. He was in the military, stuff like that. Of course, we get Forrest Whitaker in this movie, tracking him down the entire time.
Yeah.
A young Forrest Whitaker. But yeah, this is probably one of the either this or Lionheart. They're like 1 and 2 on my favorite Van Damme movies, and I can't remember which one I saw first. But yeah, I love this movie. It literally is just Mortal Kombat. What's his name that just died is kind of the emotional centerpiece of the film. Yep. This is Van Damme at his height, I guess you could say. But yeah, karate tournament. He goes over there. He has the technique. I like that. They even put that in Mortal Kombat, the breaking of the bricks.
Yeah.
So yeah, great movie. What did you think about it?
Oh, I loved it.
Having not grown up with
it. I loved it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, his accent takes you out of everything, and I remember that in the 90s, all the movies I've seen with him.
And the child that plays him younger might be the worst acting of all time. Of course, that all looked like it was ADR.
I almost texted
Jesus
you.
Christ, that kid.
I almost texted you when I saw that kid. That was the worst.
Oh my god.
Obviously, an American actor that they just put an accent on him in post for sure.
Yes.
Wow, crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah. Overall, I love this movie. And I've seen other movies with him. We figured out it was. We figured out that I saw. What was the one? Double Identity with
Double
or something like
Double Team
with Rodman, Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
And of course Street Fighter, which we've seen. We'll probably talk about that in the end of the year when the new one comes out. But yeah, overall, he's a great fighter. I understand why he's got such an obsessed fan base like you and Dusty. I know you and Dusty must have fucking loved this movie. That's all I could think of when I saw this. Like you and Dusty must have just sat there and watched this all the fucking time. That's in all his other movies, just because of the way he fights. But yeah, overall, I loved it. Very, very good, and of course, Mortal Kombat related. And we'll talk about the the actor that I've been
Very much
mysterious
so. Yep.
about this whole episode so far, because I can't remember his name. I know it's Gibb, but I can't remember his name. Donald Gibb.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah.
We'll talk about him in a few minutes, but until then, let's start and get into, where's my music? The news. It's not a news segment without the trailer roundup. Speaking of Kevin Hart, brand new trailer released on Netflix movie called 72 Hours with him, Cam Patterson, Mason Gooding, Marcelo Hernandez, Ben Marshall. Pretty much everybody from SNL right now is in this movie. Probably produced by Lorne Michaels. I didn't see. Comes out directed by Tim Story. Comes out July 24th. Looks like every other B movie that's starring Kevin Hart. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if I'm going to watch that or not. I'm going to watch this. I love Big Bang Theory. I'm not too sure about it though. Stuart fails to save the universe. It's a post-apocalyptic world. If Stuart, the comic book owner, survived and all the other B characters from the Big Bang Theory are around him during this apocalypse. I'm not sure what to think about it, but I'll watch it. It's going to be on HBO Max on July 23rd. We got the first trailer and first posters and looks at it. So we'll see. I'll give my first impressions of it. We got a brand new poster for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Probably one of the better posters that they've released so far. And a behind-the-scenes trailer video showed as well of a fight scenes in New York City in the snow and in the middle of a fight with somebody with CG and reflectors all over them. I'm not sure who that's going to be, but cannot wait. It looks great. All the action, looks like it's going to be the best fighting we've ever seen in a Spider-Man movie. At least that's what they're saying. So, mentioned it last week during the box office. It was probably going to be a $40 million three-way, and it's basically what it was. Devil Wears Prada 2 in the second week. Don't want to see that yet. Devil Wears Prada 2 in the second week ended up winning 43 million. Mortal Kombat 2 opened at 40 million, ended up being number 2. And Michael, for the third week in a row, 36.5 million. Not too shabby, not a huge drop off. People still word of mouth love that movie, so good to see. Mortal Kombat 2 brought in 400 million domestically and 23 million internationally for $63 million total opening weekend, set to be lower than what they estimated. I think they estimated around 87, something like that. A lot of people are saying failure, but in the way the climate is and considering the first one was a streaming only movie, I can see this being the case. And of course, Mortal Kombat doesn't have a great pedigree in the movies anyway, so word of mouth would have to really set this into motion. But I don't know. Rest in peace to Michael Pennington, another character actor. You don't know him, but if you watched Return of the Jedi, you do. He played Moff Tyen Jar Jar. I don't know his name, but that's him there on the left. Scene of him talking to Vader at the beginning of that movie about getting prepared for the Emperor to show up on the second Death Star. So rest in peace to him, and rest in peace to Barry Blaustein, 72 years old, director of Beyond the Mat. Beyond the Mat was a great documentary. I think we may even talked about it on this podcast. So it was the very first time really that a lot of people saw behind the scenes of wrestling and how it's promoted and how storylines are created. Mick Foley, The Rock, Terry Funk, all part of this documentary, giving a behind the scenes look of how their stories were created. I think it was the Mick Foley Rock match at Royal Rumble. The I Quit match was the big highlight of this, with his family looking on, and his young daughter and sons or son, I think at the time, were crying as he was getting hit with a chair multiple times by The Rock and kept just asking for The Rock to hit him. But he did die. The guy that directed that, Barry Blaustein. I know a lot of people talk about him now when they reminisce about that movie because I guess he was a really, really nice guy. So rest in peace to him. Mm-hmm. But the big obituary of the week, the reason why I brought up character actors, the reason why we brought up Bloodsport, rest in peace to Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, who will always be known as Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. But he's been in everything. Donald Gibb, 71 years old, no idea how he died, but iconic role, iconic line nerds, and Revenge of the Nerds. One of those movies you can't find really anymore because of the problematic stuff, the considered problematic stuff in that movie. The moon bounce house, of course, rape scene, if you want to call it. The very end of I believe the second movie, he becomes a nerd, puts on the glasses, ends up joining Lambda. He's also all over TGIF in the 90s. He's all over. He's everywhere. Of course, Boy Meets World there in the bottom right corner if you're on YouTube with Mr. Feeney. But he's been in everything from TV to movies. Bloodsport was the other big movie. That's why we watched it. And rest in peace to him. He's been in the Comic-Con circuits for a while. He's been around, but died suddenly. Like I said, he's a big guy, very tall, very muscular. Probably didn't take great care of his health, so understandable. Something probably health-wise happened to him, but no idea what it is. But rest in peace to him. Sad to see a character actor go, and it reminds me of stuff like who was our modern-day character actor. He was definitely one of the bigger, older ones, so rest in peace to him. You have an iPhone. I have an iPhone. And something's going to happen. We always have to deal with maybe spots that don't have the best reception. I know in York you do for sure. If you go down in the York Village
at work,
even down on the ocean front, there is no signal down there. Well, the wireless service providers are all going to come together like the Avengers. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile are forming a joint venture to involve satellites, combining their services in order to make it so dead zones are going to be a thing of the past. Combining using their towers and everything, so you can actually have access to all the towers instead of just your tower for your specific provider. Great. This should have happened years ago. There should have been a signed document years ago of combined effort for this. I'm glad they're finally doing it now, especially when Elon Musk is on their heels saying, I may create a phone later on down the road using my Starlink system, which would be a game changer if he did that. So this is a great start to having no dead zones, because there's a lot of them, especially where we live. So Weird Al going to have a Broadway musical. It's a jukebox musical with all of his hits. I cannot wait for that because I love his music. And taking it into a Broadway musical would be astounding. So yeah, that'd be awesome. And the upfronts happened this week. A lot of stuff was announced. First, let's talk about Peacock. They announced The Office spinoff The Paper is going to return in September for season 2. Amy Poehler has a brand new comedy called Dig, will debut in November. Ted, the cartoon series, officially titled Ted the Animated Series. They released a little trailer of that, coming soon sometime. Fast and Furious is getting a TV series, actually getting 4 of them for Universal. Going to be on Peacock with Vin Diesel executive producing them. Still waiting on that next movie, which is supposed to be the last one. And Crystal Lake, which I know you're very excited. We got a first look of what Jason's going to look like, little kid Jason. A little bit of news about what the story is going to be too. And coming out on October 15th on Peacock, called Crystal Lake. Linda Cardellini is playing Pamela Voorhees, his mother. Set, I believe it was 9 months or 19 months. I can't remember the exact after he drowns. So before the camp counselors and everything. I don't remember the timeline of everything that happens there, but it's like 9 or 19 months. I can't remember, but I know you're excited for that. Last year we had It, Welcome to Derry. This year we're going to have Crystal Lake, so that'll be cool. A24 is doing it too, so that's good. Other things announced last week: Amy Madigan, who was just in Weapons, did a great job, and Steve Buscemi have been cast in Ryan Coogler's X-Files series. This is actually taking steam, so I don't know if it's going to be a continuation of the original X-Files, which I wasn't really watching, but I kind of do want to watch. That is Supernatural. I want to go back and watch that too. There's a lot of seasons of that, so that's why I'm hesitant. A lot of seasons of X-Files too. But yeah, love those 2 actors. Not sure. Ryan Coogler, of course, I love. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And joining the cast of Fallout next year, Aaron Paul, going from Breaking Bad to Fallout, season 3, going to be on Prime. Speaking of Prime, Reacher, before season 4 even airs, has been renewed for season 5 on Prime Video. Big Mistakes, talked about it last week with Dan Levy on Netflix, is renewed for season 2. Margot's Got Money Troubles, which has a finale next week. This week's episode was fantastic with Nick Offerman. Has been renewed for a second season on Apple TV. Another great show everybody should be watching. And a Creed spinoff called Delphi begins filming next week. Series follows a young Latin American boxer joins the boxing camp that helped to build Adonis Creed. I believe that Michael B. Jordan may be directing or producing. I'm not sure where he's. I know
he's definitely producing.
I don't know what his actual direct involvement is going to be. More Prime news. Very first look at Lord Sauron with the helmet for season 3. It comes out November 11th of 2026. I was thinking 2027, so I'm glad we're getting it this year. Going to be our final big, huge show of the year. Cannot wait for that. Lord of the Rings. Jumping forward several years from the events of season 2, season 3 takes place at the height of the War of the Elves and Sauron. So the very beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, where the battle for the ring and all that, it's kind of going to be leading up to that and crafting the one ring to rule them all. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. We talked about a little while ago a movie being made called Sex Criminals, based off a comic book. It's basically they have extraordinary abilities. When they both have sex, time stops, so they rob a lot of banks using it. While they did announce the cast, Imogen Poots and John Reynolds. So Imogen Poots has been in a lot of things. Don't know John Reynolds though, but yeah, that's the cast for that. It's been on my radar for a while, so I cannot wait. Doctor Who. I'm not sure where it's streaming right now, but on AMC Plus, starting June 11th, the whole entire series of the new Doctor Who is going to be airing, which is one of my. I mean, Matt Smith's years is one of my favorites of television in the last 15 years. So, yeah. So, don't know how much AMC Plus is. I don't know I don't know anything. What else is on there besides probably The Walking Dead. So, I don't know. The Rip came out in January with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon in their studio. They were playing these police officers in Miami who use force to try to do drug raids and finding money from drugs and everything else. Well, it was based off of, these people are claiming it was based off of these real police officers. Jason Smith and Jonathan Santana are claiming that it was based off their real lives. They were followed around. And they filed a lawsuit against the Ben Affleck and Matt Damon studio, and they went to and filed it this week. Claimed that the characters resembled them, which affected their credibility as police officers. So they did a lot of shady shit in that movie to get their stuff done. So, yeah, that came out this week. I think we may have. They talked about it when the movie came out that they weren't too happy how they're portrayed.
Right.
Movie news: Rush Hour 4. Last thing I knew that this movie had been delayed for budget reasons because they wanted to lowball Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Reportedly, this is a Variety article. Brett Ratner joined Donald Trump in his visit to China this week in order to scout locations for this new movie. So supposedly it's still happening, but I everything on paper I don't understand how. Maybe in a Trump economy that's why this happens, but I have no idea. If they don't up the budget, that'd be wrong not to pay them more at least than they got for the third movie. But this was announced today. I'm not sure your feelings on it, but an all-new, all-female Expendable spinoff is in the works titled Expendables. This is a real story, not an Onion article. The film is set in the late 1990s during the height of the Y2K era tension and geopolitical uncertainty. It's going to be the Expendables, but all women.
Yeah, I'm good on that, as well as the next movie we're going to talk about this being made.
The next movie, Grown Ups 3, officially in the works, but on Netflix with Adam Sandler, who has a deal with Netflix, so understandable. Wasn't a big, huge fan of him coming back to Happy Gilmore 2. I knew I wasn't going to be, even though I had high hopes. Grown Ups 1 and 2. Grown Ups 1 is okay. Grown Ups 2 was horrible. Grown Ups 1, let's face it, is horrible too, but you know who has a great role? Who has a great role in Grown Ups 1? Norm Macdonald.
Oh yeah,
Norm Macdonald. He's on the top of this that scene right there in the picture in our notes. He has a scene at the top of that slide where he's getting everybody to go down the slide. If you ever seen that clip, go look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic. But yeah, Grown Ups 3 happening. Also happening, not a TV series, but a movie. Westworld getting a reboot. It was canceled at HBO. It's going to be rebooted into another movie. It was a movie in the 1970s, 1973, directed by Michael Crichton. It was based off of his book. It's all about, of course, if you've seen the show, it's an Old West, kind of like a Disney World where all the Western guys are robots, and the guy who the main robot ends up going rogue and starts killing people, visitors to the park. And then if you've seen Westworld, you kind of see a glimpse of that. It's weird. Westworld's weird. It's not even really any comparison to what the movie was, but they are gonna reboot it into a movie. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that. And we're gonna be talking about the Odyssey probably for the next 2 months.
Yep.
Until it comes out. Got a brand new look at Christopher Nolan's behind the scenes filming it there. Christopher Nolan instructed Ludwig Göransson not to use orchestra in the Odyssey just because there was no orchestra. It didn't exist back then. And it opened a challenge to him, opened enough to make something unique to the story. So I don't know what that means. More strings, maybe more different, unique sounds. And he also defended casting rapper Travis Scott in the Odyssey. And he says, I cast him because I wanted a nod to the idea that the story has been handed down as oral hit poetry, which is analogous. I don't know how to say that word, to rap. In other words, poetry, rap, so on and so forth. I don't know about that. Lupita Nyong'o, who's been in, of course, Black Panther, 12 Years a Slave, is going to be playing dual roles in the Odyssey. She's going to be playing the wife of Amagondan. I don't know who that is, but Helena Troy. Helena Troy is a big character in of course, Troy. Don't know anything about that movie. We'll watch that closer to when the movie comes out. And a brand new first look at a movie called Barracuda, starring Anthony Mackie and Daphne Keane, X-23 from Wolverine. Action thriller follows a smuggler involved in a high-speed car chase across the desert after rescuing a kidnapped teenage girl. So yeah. And this was not on my bucket list for this year, or my list at all, any list, but there's a movie coming out on Prime December 2nd, a Christmas movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Not only does it star him, but it stars Alan Ritchson, which already up there on my list of must-see movies this year. Great, it's on Prime. It's free for us, so cannot wait for that. Need a new great action Christmas movie. So Jingle All the Way too. If it can't happen with Arnold, that one, at least we get him this way playing Santa Claus. So and Bond officially announced the auditions have started. They actually made an announcement on the socials for MGM Amazon. And search for the next Bond is underway. While we don't plan to comment on specific details during the casting process, we're excited to share news with 007 fans as soon as the time is right. So cannot wait for that and hear who they're going to be casting for that probably a few months from now. Legend of Zelda movie released 1 week, has been moved up 1 week to, it was coming out on the 7th of May of next year, coming out on April 30th of the next year. So it's not going to get the first week of May, but it'll be the end of April. At the Disney upfronts this year, Rosario Dawson confirmed that the series of Ahsoka season 2 will return the first part of 2027. I like the first season. I like the first season of Ahsoka, so I'm very excited about that. We'll talk more Star Wars next week when Mando and Grogu comes out. And let's get into some swag.
Swag. Stuff we all get.
Come on, son. You know that's right.
Got McFarlane and Azazel figure from, of course, the 90s there. Looked pretty fucking cool. And the Minas Tirith from, of course, Lord of the Rings. I can't remember which one it was. It's either, I think it's the second and third one. But, yeah, full, huge icon set from Lego. I'm not even sure how many pieces it is, but it's gigantic. And it has a lot of rooms you can open up like a castle, like the old castles back in the day. A lot of minifigures, so looks awesome. Marvel news for the week: Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and X-Men are going to have a horror-centric comic run later this year. Midnight X-Men, Midnight Spider-Man, and Midnight Fantastic Four, where it's all kind of monsters and vampires and terror in the night and stuff. So yeah, I want to bring that up. And we got some spy look of a new shirt, by the looks of a new shirt front for characters of Doomsday. We got Beast, we got Gambit, we got Cyclops, we got Black Panther, Fantastic Four, and of course Doom in the top there. So exciting time. Disney Plus had their upfronts this week as well, and unveiled that Vision Quest, the finale of the trilogy of WandaVision, is going to premiere on Disney Plus on October 14th. And Robert Downey Jr. was there along with Tom Hiddleston and Paul Bettany to announce that. And they showed a first look on the right there of what WandaVision is going to look like. So cannot wait. I love WandaVision. I even liked Agatha all along. I love the Vision. I love playing the Vision in the video game back in the day, in the arcade game. So that was my first love of Vision. So DC news of the week. Not sure what to think about this, but I fucking love Greg Mottola. He directed Superbad, one of my favorite movies of all time. Paul, another one of my favorites. And he directed a couple episodes of this last season of Peacemaker. Well, he's a front runner to potentially direct a Deathstroke and Bane movie for DC in the DC universe. Team up movie. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to bring his comedy prowess into it. The only episode I know he directed of Peacemaker was the great scene of Eagly, the great battle scene with Eagly in the house. He directed that episode. So if it's anything like that, I'm all for it. So, and DC is going to showcase all their animated TV slate in June in, I believe it was France, right? The Annecy Festival, Annecy Festival. Yeah. So Starfire, Mr. Miracle, DC Superpowers, Creature Commandos, Batman Cape Crusader Season 2, My Adventures with Green Lantern, Mr. Miracles. Everybody's excited about that. You've brought it up a few times on here as well. As
I can't wait.
Very excited. Yeah. First looks of Green Lantern, some more summer previews for Entertainment Weekly. John Stewart carrying that lantern is so much fucking aura to it. I cannot wait for the show in August. I cannot wait. And
apparently somebody at Paramount has seen it now that everything's kind of underway, and they say it's a fantastic show. So we'll see.
Awesome. Set in two eras, two time periods. One part in 2016, the other part in 2026. So if all this stuff happens, the murder mystery happens in 2016, and fast forward to 2026, closer to, of course, we know he's going to be in Man of Tomorrow. So setting up whatever he's going to be in that movie, it's going to be exciting. So yeah, awesome. I don't know anything about this guy. I know you watched Friday Night Lights. Sanquaya Walls has been cast in Man of
No kidding.
He's been cast in Man of Tomorrow, and nobody knows what role it is.
I'm guessing Steel.
Okay,
that's just my guess.
Interesting if they go that route.
Idea. But yeah, we'll see.
Every black actor that gets cast for this movie, everybody brings something.
He was probably. My guess is you said he was in Friday Night Lights. When they go to like the seasons 4 and 5, or like the quote unquote bad part of towns, of course, there's a lot of African Americans there.
Wow.
Which is like, that was the Michael B. Jordan era. I love that season. Those seasons are fucking fantastic. So he was probably just like a backup actor in those. Like, he didn't have much of roles, my guess.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in anything, so I wasn't sure who it was. And finally in news, over the last 2 nights, Matt Reeves, like you mentioned, found his password to his Twitter. And a couple nights ago, he announced a returning cast for the Batman Part 2. Of course, Robert Pattinson, and Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, the Mayor, Officer Martinez, all coming back. And he also announced last night the addition to the cast. And we'll speculate. Of course, Sebastian Stan. This is all stuff we've known for a while. Except for a couple. Sebastian Stan, rumored to be Harvey Dent. Scarlett Johansson, rumored to be Gilda Dent, his wife. Charles Dance, as Christopher Dent, Harvey's father, who, of course, if you've seen Game of Thrones, he was Tywin. Tywin? Is that his name from Game of Thrones?
Yep.
And a couple of new names, not connected to this, announced last night, Sebastian Koch, who the only credit I saw him was Live Free Die Hard. And the other thing is he's German. And we've been speculating, and it was also announced when he was doing those doing the camera tests last week. We talked about it, that he's filming in the snow. So we know it's set during winter. He's even confirmed that on his Twitter. The setting of this movie is winter. We've been speculating for a very long time that this movie should be an adaptation of the Batman episode of Mr. Freeze with his wife and frozen in time. And Sebastian Koch being German, Mr. Freeze being number one, a German name, Freeze, and also most notably every actor who's played Mr. Freeze has been German in the past, all the way back to Preschinger from the Batman series. I think his name is Preschinger, Otto Preschinger, whatever his name is. Back in the 66 Batman series. So could see that. The other actor, Paperboy, Brian Tyree Henry. From of course Atlanta. He's been in the Marvel universe in an undisclosed role. So Paperboy in this movie as well. Cast looks awesome. I'm not a huge fan of the first movie. I love the Penguin series. I'll keep saying that. The thing about me and the Batman, I've watched that movie so many times, trying to figure out why I don't love it, or if I even get a glimpse of how I can love it. There's just parts of it I don't like how they portrayed that movie in certain ways. I've given my grievances on this podcast before, but I'm excited for it because I love a lot of these actors, especially Sebastian Stan. I love Scarlett Johansson. So that's it for the show this week. That movie comes out October 1st, by the way, of 2027. Next week, big finale. We'll talk about the Boys series finale. Talk about Euphoria episode 6. I'll continue watching Widow's Bay. I'll talk about the finale of Margot's Got Money Troubles. That's next week as well. And we're going to go to the movies, and we're going to watch Mandalorian and Grogu next week. And if you have time, I don't know, did you pre-order the Legacy of the Dark Knight?
Yeah. Yep.
It comes out on the 19th, so you'll be able to play it before the pod next week. You get a pre-order extra time. So we'll talk about that as well. Legacy of the Dark Knight, the video game. So get some first reactions to that. So thank you, everyone, and we will talk to you then. Peace.
We're the Geek Blurb crew, here to enlighten you, talking all things geeky, from movies to wrestling to our podcast is the place where you wanna be for all the latest news and nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. We review comic book flicks and sci-fi hits, riding the wave of action movies with all the cool bits. From Iron Man to Star Wars, we cover it all. And when it comes to wrestling, we never drop the ball. Cheap Blurb, we're the kings of the nerds, rating movies and pineapples, our opinions never blurred. Join us each week for a geeky chat with the latest scoop and a dose of nostalgia that. So if you're a fan of the comic book craze, or a lover of sci-fi and all its maze, tune in to Geek Blurb, we're here to entertain, bringing you the best in geekdom, it's our domain.